The Philadelphia Phillies have clearly made it a point to prioritize the development of their young prospects in the organization over the past 4 or 5 years. One of the guys at the heart of it has been Mick Abel. However, we got some surprising news about a little bit of a change in trajectory for his path to the MLB and why it may be delayed a bit more than we expected. Now, before we dive into the full story, I do want to remind you guys to make sure you are smashing that subscribe button. That at this point in time, 94.8% of you guys watching these videos have not subscribed to the channel just yet. We got plenty more to break down as we head into the home stretch of this Phillies season. So to get into the story of the day, first I want to throw it to you, Luke. Let's set the scene a little bit for Mick Abel, who he is as a prospect, what the belief is within the organization, and then talk about a little bit about what's going on right now.
Yeah, so Mick Abel was the Phillies' first-round pick back in the shortened 2020 draft. That was really the first year that the rounds really got a lot smaller. He was the prospect at the time. When they drafted him, it was a big name. It was a guy that they knew they were going to have to develop out of high school, but they knew that the potential at the time was there. And it seems like over the years, it's just slowly gotten a little bit worse.
Yeah.
Just can't find it. I mean, this year's been definitely the worst. He now has a 6.66 ERA and 17 AAA starts this year. It's been very ugly. It's just he can't find the control. It's just not there. His confidence doesn't seem there. He's walked 58 batters in 77 innings and has given up 14 homers and 17 starts down in AAA. So just a guy that was once a very promising but known project as a prospect has now really turned into a guy that's you sort of just don't really know what's going to happen. And that sort of led to their decision to now put him on the development list. Basically a list that it's sort of they just give the guys a break. That's kind of the easiest way to describe it. It's a list that if a guy's not throwing great and they don't want to throw him necessarily on the injured list, they'll basically put him on the development list. And it really just gives them a break. It gives them a time to not pitch, sort of get the mental right, figure it out. They added this list back in 2021, and I think it's been a very good ad because sometimes you just need a break.
Yeah.
There's a lot of pressure when you're a first-round draft pick, and in baseball, it's a long road to the majors, right? If you're a first-round draft pick in the NBA, you're going right to the league.
Right.
If you're a first-round draft pick in the NFL, you're expected to jump into a Super Bowl winning team and go in that first game, right? Baseball is not like that. I mean, the average person takes almost like 5 years to get to the pros after they get drafted. So it's been a bumpy road for Abel. And I do think this can help. Like, I don't think giving him a break can really make things worse. I think sometimes you just need a break and you just need to clear your head.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's good that they're trying something, as you mentioned, that it's disappointing. And with baseball, I'll say also more sport than any other sport is there is a bit of a crapshoot to it. And that's kind of what we spoke about leading up to the deadline. And one of the reasons that I am very much in favor of flipping prospects when you get the opportunity, when there are more sure things that you can see what they do at the majors. But to dive into this full story for Mick Abel, we got this headline, and shout out to Bob Wakai, I believe is how you pronounce this name here, and he writes that Philadelphia Phillies hit pause on the career of their star pitching prospect. And to get a bit of the details, he first dives into a little bit of the backstory for the Phillies kind of prioritizing the way that they have grown this organization. And he writes that for a long time, the Philadelphia Phillies were considered to have one of the worst farm systems in all of baseball. When Bryce Harper came to the team, he implored them to start building the pipeline for the homegrown options that would become to the Major League stars. This has happened for them. Alec Boehm, Bryson Stott, Ranger Suarez, Christopher Sanchez, Orion Kirkring, a bunch of guys, Johan Rojas as well, are the most recent results of that. In the meantime, though, the Phillies have quietly kept stacking young talent in their farm system for which they hope will develop into impact players at some point during their careers. Philadelphia has had some superstars in their pipeline. Headlined above an Andrew Painter is another name mentioned here, and Aiden Miller and Justin Crawford kind of the next one up. But then it gets into the main story, Mick Abel here, which is written that Mick Abel was considered to be in this tier just a couple seasons ago, but after struggling mightily the AAA level this year with an ERA of 6.66 across the 17 starts, he's slipped a bit in the mind of evaluators. To try and get his career back on track, the Phillies have moved him to the developmental list per their team's transaction page, citing that this move, quote, allows both the club and Abel to hit pause and attempt to right the ship moving forward. This was something that was created by the Major League Baseball in 2021, which allows team to monitor usage and development of different prospects that can stay within their team, being allowed to watch and continue learning, but aren't going to be put into games. So, Luke, kind of the mindset there. This is much more about kind of the headspace, right? It's take a step back, unplug. Don't worry about kind of being in that regular routine and basically see if we can figure things out or flip something in the head in this situation. Correct?
Yeah, it's once again just really. I mean, you just want to get the head right.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of where they're at right now because it's obviously not there. Something's wrong. There's not. I don't think much is translating from here to here. That's sort of his issue right now. And I think once again, just basically taking some time off to figure that out is big, and I think can help. I don't expect Mick Abel to be the number one starter in our rotation in a few years. But if the Phillies can sort of salvage this guy into maybe a back end starter, I think that'd be big. I'm not expecting really much anymore because unfortunately it's just sort of gotten worse and worse over the years. But I do think now is a good time to sort of do that for him. To just really get the head cleared. Don't have his season go into September with an ERA over 6, right? Let's just throw him on that list and just basically give him some time off. So I'm all in favor of the move right now because I don't really think there was much really other to do.
Yeah, you got to kind of try something, and it seems like everyone's pretty much universally in favor for this. The article continues on to write that for Abel, this could be exactly what he needs. During the early portion of his career, after being taken number 15 overall in the 2020 draft out of high school, he looked like the real deal. Even though his ERA wasn't minuscule, the right-hander still showed the ability to strike batters out at a high clip in his early 20s. But things have fallen apart from him since this year. Not only has he gotten shelled for an ERA of 6.66, as Luke mentioned, but he also has walked 58 batters in 77 innings and given up 14 home runs. Just not what you want to see at the minor league level. We will see what the ultimate results of this kind of transaction is. But you're right. You got to try something. And I got to say, the fact that there's kind of these asterisks next to, I would say, the top 2 pitching prospects now, because I still think it goes under, talked about kind of the Tommy John situation that we're rocking with Andrew Painter there, and then Mick Abel obviously with this. So kind of concerning for the reinforcements being a little bit further along than I think was initially expected. Painter, all expectations are that he will not have any role in the majors this year. Next year it could be a different story, and obviously he's spending all this year recovering. You can't rush that by any means, but kind of been frustrating even the lead up to that of them trying to stretch it out and all of a sudden shutting him down. So I don't know. I'm not hitting the panic button or worried, but it is kind of concerning about some of the pitching prospects right now.
Yeah, they're definitely not in the best shape with their pitching, but it seems there hasn't been any sort of setbacks in his recovery. So I'm not worried about really Painter. Abel, it's just one of the things you got to hope that they figure it out.
Yeah.
Luckily, they have some really good, promising hitting prospects that they showed at this deadline that they really want to keep here because they really think that they're a part of the future in Aiden Miller, in Justin Crawford, in Arlen Caba. So it's they have the future. I really do think they have a bunch of hitters. Now it's really just developing the pitchers.
Yeah, so ultimately we will see how things shake out from here. Hopefully this is exactly what Mick Abel needs and he can straighten things out. Good that the Phillies aren't giving up on him, but you got to try something, and we'll see how things shake out. I guess next season is likely. This is the rest of the season thing. Am I correct in that, Luke? Or he will return whenever? Rest of season?
Yeah, it seems like it'll most likely be the rest of the season.
Okay, fair enough. So enjoy the early vacation to Mick Abel. Hopefully this is what he needs to straighten things out. And there's still plenty to focus on with this actual Phillies team, the ones that will be continuing to compete on the field. So we want you guys along for the ride every step of the way. Once again, make sure you're smashing that subscribe button if you have not already. Drop a like on this video, any comments you have below. We'll be back talking to you next time right here on Phillies Digest. Peace.